Last week we found out all the details about Apple TV Plus, Apple's attempts to battle the likes of Disney, Netflix and Amazon. This streaming war is starting to get a little bit crowded, isn't it? I mean, something's gotta give soon, right? Which one's gonna call it quits first? But here's some of the big details. It's going to be released on November 1st. Yes, November 1st. Why is that key? Because it's before Disney Plus releases. You see what they did there? They're trying to one-up the competition, get a quick jab in there before the competition can even get started. To top it off, it's only going to cost $4.99 a month, which is cheaper than Disney Plus's monthly subscription price. That's a cheap right hook across the face of Disney right there. It's also going to support up to 6 people because it wants to be family friendly. And if you're a big supporter of Apple products, guess what? You're going to get a year of it for free. As long as you buy a several $100 costing iPad or phone or some other Apple product. The likes of me, who sadly bought a phone just last year, I don't get that. I only get 7 days. But really, it is a good offer. It just feels like a little slap in the face for everyone who's supported Apple until this point. Because now, if you're just joining the Apple bandwagon, you're going to get more benefits than people who've been on it for quite a while. Of course, this is all good, useful information, but why would you want this service? What exactly are they offering? Well, this is the area in which I think they're going to start losing the fight, in my opinion, because they're not offering too much, especially in comparison to the competition. Because it should be noted that this isn't going to be like Netflix and Amazon. You're not going to get a huge curated library of titles from the past. You're not going to see like a bunch of films from MGM or Warner or whatever else. It's purely just the Apple original content. If you want to watch another film on Apple's service, you've got to buy it. And it should be noted that a lot of these Apple originals, they're not going to be there at launch. Most of them are still in some stage of development or production. So it's going to be a couple of years before its library starts to really get fleshed out. Luckily, when this content does eventually come out, it's going to support 4K, HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, so that means you'll be able to enjoy it in the best possible quality. It's also going to be available on certain smart TVs, set-top boxes, so on and so forth, pretty much all the places you'd expect it to be. Maybe a few exceptions here and there. But what are they exactly? Well, let's start by saying that they're putting some money into this. A big hefty couple of billion apparently is going into their early production efforts across 2018 and 2019. So yeah, they're going to be some pricey, high budget stuff, it seems. That being said, just for a comparison's sake, Apple with a couple of billion just these past 2 years, in this year alone Netflix put in 12 billion. So if it's a dick swinging contest that you want, Netflix kind of wins this one. First up, we've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt producing, starring and writing in a show called Mr. Corman. It's a drama series and that's literally all we know so far. Then we've got the brilliant Steven Spielberg coming out with Amazing Stories. And here's what he had to say about that. The Amblin team and I will be resurrecting this 93-year-old brand and offering to multi-generational audiences a whole new batch of amazing stories. We want to transport the audience with every episode. Like the World War II pilot whose plane magically travels through space and time from the past and into the present day. Who will he meet? Can he return? Does he want to? What happens if he doesn't? It's the universal human trait to search for meaning. So in these disconnected stories, we think the audience will find that one compelling narrative that will make the first season of Amazing Stories into a single thematic experience for them. Beyond Spielberg's involvement and beyond these quotes that he's just said, all we know about Amazing Stories is that it is going to be an anthology series. What seems to be the biggest show that Apple is currently promoting and that will be there on day one is The Morning Show, starring Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon and Steve Carell. And it's about the people working in a daily news morning show. So it sounds a lot like The Newsroom.
Does it feel to you like anyone in this room is in the mood for a joke?
So based on the trailer and what I'm hearing about it, it sounds like it actually could be pretty good. But is it enough to get me to spend $4.99 a month on this service? Then we have C, a futuristic post-apocalyptic world in which a virus has eradicated humans' ability of sight. It's set a few hundred years after that though, in which humans are now starting to question whether or not sight was something to begin with. It stars Jason Momoa from Aquaman and is written by Stephen Knight, best known for Peaky Blinders. It also apparently cost $15 million to make per episode. That's a whopping number, and it makes it one of the most expensive shows around today. That being said, I think Disney Plus might have something in the line there that might compete with that budget. Kumail Nanjiani and his wife are teaming up again. If you don't know who these are, they are responsible for the brilliant The Big Sick, which I do recommend you go and see. They're teaming up again now for an Apple show called Little America. It's a half-hour anthology series about immigrants. So that description makes it sound really serious and dramatic, and it very well could be. But there's also names behind the scenes like Aziz Ansari being attached, so chances are this is going to be pretty funny. Helpsters is one for the kids, and it's got Big Bird from Sesame Street in there. It's going to be an educational show trying to teach kids all about coding. I'm not even sure what that means. Maybe I'm just not down with the kids anymore. On top of that, J.J. Abrams is working on a 10-episode, half-hour comedy drama show called Little Voice. Here's what we know about it so far. It's a love letter to the diverse musicality of New York, which explores the universal journey of finding your authentic voice in your early 20s. So, it sounds a little odd. But now for some science fiction. You'd expect JJ would be responsible for that, but no, it's going to Ronald D. Moore, best known for Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, and recently Outlander. He's coming in with For All Mankind, a show all about the space race. What if the space race never ended, and what if the Russians beat the Americans to the moon? The trailer looks okay. I like Ronald D. Moore. I actually like Joel Kinnaman, who's in this as well, but it just didn't really capture me. Then it's time for another Reese Witherspoon show. This time she's producing it though, and it's called Truth Be Told. And it's also based on the best-selling novel, Are You Sleeping?, a novel by Kathleen Barber. I don't know much about the novel, don't know much about the writer, can't really say much except that it's apparently about a podcast that somehow reopens an old murder case. But then we've got another big name in M. Night Shyamalan, who's making a 10-episode psychological thriller, because of course that's all he really does. And it's called Servant. And that's all we know about that. You might have started to figure out a certain pattern with these shows, with getting little bits of information here and there, but not a lot to go on. They're not really selling us this beyond putting big names in there. Speaking of which, Haley Steinfeld is doing Dickinson, a 10-episode comedy show about Emily Dickinson. Half-hour episodes, it's a coming-of-age comedy. Again, that's all we really know. But those are all of the main ones that I wanted to get out there. There are more out there, and I'm going to list them all now. And the reason I'm just listing them is because I could be on all day talking about them. And again, a lot of these, there's not a huge deal of information beyond the title and who's writing them and who's attached to them. So let's not dwell on them too much. I'm just going to list them off. Here we go. Home Before Dark, Mythic Quest, Hala, Alabama, Lacey's Story, Prehistoric Planet, Central Park, Home, a Brie Larson CIA biography show, a sci-fi show by Simon Kinberg and David Whale. On the Rocks, Charlie Brown, Snoopy and the Peanuts Gang, Snoopy in Space, My Glory Was I Had Such Friends, Defending Jacob, Losing Earth, The Elephant Queen, Wolf Walkers, Pachinko, Time Bandits, Calls, Shantaram, Sesame Street Workshop Children's Programming, Foundation, Swagger, You Think It, I'll Say It, a Damien Chazelle drama show, Vital Signs, Carpool Karaoke the series, and Planet of the Apps. And finally, we've got Oprah Winfrey coming in with two things that she's hoping will heal the world. The first is a documentary all about sexual harassment. The other is a documentary show all about mental health. And that's all we know. Not quite though, because she's teaming up with Prince Harry on that second one, because of course Prince Harry, well known for all of his great documentary works. Anyway, Prince Harry said, and I quote, "Our hope is that this series will be positive, enlightening and inclusive, sharing global stories of unparalleled human spirit fighting back from the darkest places and the opportunity for us to understand ourselves and those around us better." And that's everything coming to Apple TV+. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of these shows? Do any of these really sound like they're going to draw you in? Are these must-watch shows for you? Really, I'd like to know. Personally for me, beyond the morning show, nothing here really grabs my attention. But there is more. They are doing Apple channels, which is going to be very similar to Amazon's channels, so you'll be able to subscribe to the likes of Stars and, I don't know, AMC or whatever it is. Chances are it's going to be different from region to region. But again, as a reminder, this isn't Netflix, this isn't Amazon. All the shows and films and documentaries I've spoken about, that's all you're getting with this service. But the big question is, $4.99 a month, is it justified? Will you pay $4.99 a month for this content? Personally, I'm not going to. Although it should be said, there's more on this than I expected, but again, it's just these originals and not many of them appeal to me. When you compare it to the competition, the big competition this year being Disney Plus, which only costs $2 more in America, well, Disney Plus has a huge, vast library. Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, all the classics, all the TV shows, all the Fox assets, The Simpsons, you name it. It's going to be a huge jam-packed service with new originals coming almost every week. So even if Apple TV Plus turns out to be great and the content they're putting out there is great, Disney Plus really has them beat in terms of the amount of content and in terms of the quality of content, it seems. So come November, I think Apple is about to get hit with a haymaker, bringing this streaming war to an abrupt end. Not really, it's not going to end anytime soon, but something does have to give sooner than later. The real question is though, Disney is of course going to be a big success when it comes out at Disney Plus. Apple's going to do whatever it does. Time will tell on that one. But what happens to the likes of Netflix and Amazon and in America, Hulu? Are these going to struggle with this new competition? What about the likes of HBO Max and the NBC Universal thing that's coming out and CBS All Access? It's getting really crowded and there's only so much anyone can subscribe to. When you put it on a bill, it's going to look like a cable subscription. So you're basically trading cable for these streaming services. So can Apple really force itself into this market, and not only force itself into this market, but then compete and beat its competitors, a lot of which are already established and set up and have way bigger libraries? But that's everything I've got to say about Apple TV Plus and the big reveal. Until next time though, I've been Grant Burton. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @the_Grant Burton. Most importantly though, subscribe to my channel. The more subscribers I get, the more content I can make, the better the content I can make. It really means a lot. And if you don't like this, share this across social media. Let other people know about it because they might like it. But honestly, any support you want to give me, much appreciated. Leave comments and feedback down below, thumbs up, etc, etc. Until next time though, thanks for watching.